So now let's see if we have a selector for this. I'm going to go to our code and go to our snippet slideshow partial. And what we want to adjust is the styling on a flex next, but not the before part. So what we can do is we can actually put the before in a nested selector here, and that will append it to this selector, and then we can add styles directly to this selector. So again, this is the A tag with the class of flex next, which we're seeing right here. And in this case, we're setting the right to -50 pixels. So we'll type that here. And it looks like we're missing an opening bracket, so I'll add that. And now we want to do the same thing with the flex prev class here. So we'll add an opening bracket, and we'll nest the before selector. And this time we'll set the left to -50 pixels. And let's add a closing bracket here. I'll save this and refresh in the browser. All right, so it looks like our before selector isn't working. These two symbols are actually from our default font now instead of Font Awesome. So let's go back to our code and let's add an ampersand before these pseudo elements. Okay, that should give us the right class. We'll save this, go back to the browser and refresh. Now it looks like our styles aren't being applied. Let's see why. I'll shrink this up again so we can see the previous next. And let's try to inspect this element. It's going to be hard because every time we right click it and go to inspect element, it's going to select the item below it since the previous icon is moving when we right click. So we'll have to manually find it here in our styles. So I'm going to scroll down. Here's our flex direction nav div, and we're looking for the flex nav previous. So I'll just expand this list item and look at this A tag here, and we'll scroll up and we'll see that our left is being set here. But what's happening is that when we hover over it, it's changing the style. So what we want to do at this point is ensure that it's going to be -50 pixels to the left, regardless of the state that it's in, whether we're hovering or not. And this is one of those rare cases where using important might actually make sense. So if we change this -50 pixels to -50 pixels important, and we hovered over, you'd see that it still stays 50 pixels to the left, overriding the CSS that would get applied once we were hovering over the element. Now, the problem with using important, again, like we've talked about before, is that if we decide we're going to create a subcomponent, we're no longer going to be able to override this style, which can be very frustrating and limits our possibilities.